This is a presentation about the geography of Spain. Hi, my name is Caroline and I spent last semester studying abroad in Granada, Spain. This is a picture of me in Granada, the city that I lived in for 4 months. In this presentation, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about what I did while I was in Spain, and we're going to talk about its geography. Spain is in Europe, which is across the Atlantic Ocean from the United States. Europe is circled in black in this picture. Do you guys all see Europe? This is a map of Europe. Spain is on the southwestern part of the continent. On this map, it's in pink, at the very bottom on the left. I'm circling it in red. Here's a map of Spain a little closer. You can see that it shares a border with France to the north, with Portugal to the west, and then it's very close to Morocco to the south. That's in the very northern part of Africa. It's also bordered by the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea. Spain is a peninsula. That means that 3 of its sides, or actually 4 in this case, are surrounded by water. Now I want to talk to you a little bit about the geography of Spain. This map shows the different climate zones in Spain. Spain has several different climate zones for different parts of the country. In the north we have an area which is called Green Spain, which is green on this map. And then in the center there's a big plateau. Most of Spain is a plateau, and it's called the Meseta Central. You might have heard the saying, the rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain, but that's actually not true at all, because the Meseta Central is one of the hottest and driest parts of the country. We'll talk more about that later. And then in the south, in the yellow, we have the southern part of the country where it's very hot and dry, even hotter than the plateau, and it's almost like a desert sometimes. And then there are lots of mountain ranges as well. The mountains are blue here, and a lot of the time in the winter the mountains are snow-capped, even though in the areas around them it's pretty warm still. This is a picture taken in the part of Spain that's called Green Spain. This picture was taken in Galicia, which is a province in the north of Spain. The reason why Green Spain is green is because it's located, if you remember from the map, it's between the Atlantic Ocean and a mountain range. And so what happens is that the moisture from the ocean comes in, and the mountain captures it and keeps it there. And because of its moisture, it's more rainy than in the rest of the country. And because there's more rain, there's more grass and more plants growing, and so it's known as Green Spain. Some people say it looks like Ireland. Then in the center in orange, we have the Meseta Central, which is the large plateau that takes up much of the center of Spain. This is where the capital is, and several other cities. The plateau is very hot and dry during the summer, and it's cold in the winter. But it's surrounded by mountain ranges, and there are a lot of other mountain ranges in the middle of it, you can see here in the blue, and those get lots of snow in the winter, much more than the plateau around them does. Here's a picture. The grassy land in the front is what the plateau looks like. In the south of Spain, near the Mediterranean Sea, in the area that's shown here in yellow, and also along the coast of the Mediterranean Sea over here to the east, the weather is very hot and dry. It rains very little in this area. This is where I lived. I lived in Granada, which is in the very southern part of Spain. It's about right here. And while I was there, it hardly ever rained. Probably the first 3 months, which would be from September to November, it probably rained maybe 3 times. But then in December, when I was about to leave, it started raining more and more because it was getting to be the winter and it was getting cold. This is a picture I took when I was hiking in a national park called Cabo de Gata, which is right off of the southern coast of Spain on the Mediterranean Sea across from Morocco. And I just thought it was interesting to show you guys it really does look so much like a desert. There are cacti, there's just sand everywhere, but that's just part of Spain. It's in the same country as the Green Spain. Very interesting climate differences. Here's another picture of Cabo de Gata. You can see how the mountains and the desert go right up to the ocean. This is a picture of a village called Baeza that I visited in southern Spain. Spain also has several mountain ranges, which I've drawn for you guys on this map. First of all, in the green in the northwest, up by the ocean, we have the Cantabrian Mountains. And those are the ones, if you remember, I was telling you how in green Spain, the reason that it's green is because the mountains block the moisture that's coming in from the ocean. And these are the mountains that do that. Then over here, in the red, circled in red, we have the Pyrenees, which are right on the border between Spain and France. And then at the bottom, circled in yellow, those are the Sierra Nevadas. Those include the tallest mountain in Spain. And when I lived in Granada, it's right at the foot of the Sierra Nevadas, so I saw them every day when I was walking around town. It got snowy really early, probably in the middle of November or so. There was snow on the mountains. Even though down in town it was still pretty. That's a mountain I saw from the beach in Malaga, which is That's a mountain I saw from a beach on the Mediterranean coast. These are the Sierra Nevada mountains, the tallest ones in Spain. Spain is bordered by the Atlantic Ocean to the west and the Mediterranean Sea to the east. It has more than 5,000 miles of beaches, and its beaches are a huge tourist attraction in Europe. People from all over northern Europe come to Spain to go to the beach in the summer. It's really crowded. Here's a picture I took at the beach in Malaga, which is on the southern coast of the Mediterranean. Here's another picture of two of my friends at the beach in Cadiz, which is on the western coast at the Atlantic Ocean. Here's another picture of two of my friends at the beach in Cadiz, which is a city on the western coast on the Atlantic Ocean. Just like the United States has states, Spain is divided up into states too, but they're not called states in Spain, they're called autonomous communities. And there are 17 of them. You can see them marked here on this map. Each little piece in a different color is a different state. I outlined the bottom state, Andalusia, in red because that's the state where Granada is, the city that I lived in. It's the furthest south, it's the most populated state in Spain, and it's about the size of 1.5 of North Carolina. Spain has several big cities, and the 5 biggest ones I drew for you on this map. The biggest city in Spain is also the capital of Spain, and it's called Madrid. Madrid is right in the middle of the country here. The other 4 biggest cities are Bilbao on the north coast, Barcelona on the Mediterranean coast, Valencia, also on the Mediterranean coast, and Sevilla, which is in the south. It's also in Andalusia. I have some pictures for you guys of the cities that I visited in Spain. I didn't go to all 5 of the biggest cities, but I did go to Madrid and Barcelona. This is a picture from Madrid, and it's a picture of the Plaza Mayor. The Plaza Mayor is the center plaza in Spain. A lot of Spanish cities are set up with big plazas, which are just big empty squares. They're full of people, but there are no buildings, where people congregate. They're just central meeting places, open spaces within the big cities. These are a bunch of people on a Saturday morning at a flea market in Madrid. Alright, now we've moved on to Barcelona, the second biggest city. This is a picture of Las Ramblas, which is one of the most famous and most busy streets in Barcelona. There are shops all up and down the street, but the most fun part, if you ask me, is just the middle of the street, the pedestrian walkway that you can see here, where all kinds of people just hang out all day. They have street performers, jugglers, people selling things, all kinds of anything you can imagine. Okay, here are a few more pictures of Barcelona. On the left, we have a picture of a market selling fruit, nuts, and all kinds of other food. And then on the right, this is a picture of a statue of Christopher Columbus. who was actually a national hero in Spain because when he came in 1492 to what is now the United States and claimed to have discovered a new world, he was coming on the orders of the Spanish government. He sailed with the Spanish government under King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella. And so they consider him a national hero for having discovered for Europe the land that is now the United States, Mexico, Canada, Latin America, and all of the Western Hemisphere. Barcelona is on the Mediterranean Sea. This is a picture of its coast. Here's a map of Spain showing the location of Granada, the city that I studied in. It's not one of the 5 biggest cities in Spain, but I'm going to show you some pictures of it anyway because it was my home. Granada has about 225,000 people, which is about the same number of people as Greensboro, North Carolina. Here's a picture of Granada in the fall. This is the street that I always walk down every day on my way from my host family's apartment to my school. It's called La Calle de Manuel de Góngora. This picture is kind of blurry, but I was trying to show you guys the fruit stand that was always set up on the corner of the street that I walk by every day. They always sold a lot of oranges because Spain grows tons of oranges. And even into November and December, oranges are still growing. There was a bush right outside of my apartment building that would grow oranges, and when they would get ripe enough, my host mom would just pick them, and then we would have them for lunch. And they were delicious. They were probably the best oranges I've ever eaten. Speaking of my host mom, this is a picture of her. Her name is Maria Jose, and she was a mother to me and my roommate Jane the whole time that we were in Spain. And she was wonderful. She was born in a small village to the south of Granada, and she moved to Granada with her 2 sons and her mother, their grandmother, about 20 years ago. She used to work as an art history professor, but then she quit her job, and now she just works as a tour guide and an incredible cook. In this picture, she cooked paella, which is one of my favorite foods that they had in Spain. It was a rice dish seasoned with saffron and lots of other spices, and you can add anything you want to it. Vegetables, meat, chicken. Chicken was my favorite. In this picture, it's my birthday, and so we're having chicken paella for me. Here's Maria Jose again with her mother, the grandmother, who everyone just called La Abuela, which means the grandmother in Spanish, sitting at the kitchen table in their apartment. This is on my birthday again, and this is my birthday cake, and they're singing Feliz Cumpleaños to me. Here's a picture of me in the bedroom that I shared with my roommate, Jane, for our semester in Spain. This was on the very last night of our trip. I just wanted you guys to get a look at what a typical Spanish room in an apartment looks like. One interesting thing about Spain is that you barely ever see anyone living in their own house, like we do here in the United States, with a big yard and room for a car. Most people in Granada live in apartments. The apartment that I lived in had 3 bedrooms and a big room that was a living room and kitchen and dining room, and then it had a kitchen and a few bathrooms. So I hope that's really all I have for you guys. I hope you've learned a little bit about Spain. It's a wonderful place. And I'm just going to say to you guys now in Spanish, see you later. Hasta luego.